Sorry, I need to bring this up. I'm coming, guys. It's on a different slide, so I'm just trying to bring it up. So, building our careers in the 21st century, very, very important, right? So, this is our second session for today. And it's going to be quick because we'll still have more time to conclude in our last session. So when we're building our careers in the 21st century, and you will see that this also totally aligns with what we have discussed in terms of building our careers spiritually. So building our careers in the 21st century, first thing first, and the first thing you need to do is self-awareness and skill assessment. Now, we're not looking at the spiritual aspect. Now we're looking at the professional aspect. So you need to do a skill awareness and self-awareness and skill assessment. So the number one thing you need to do in terms of self-awareness and skill assessment, number one is to align your goals with personal and professional values, just as we looked at in building a spiritual background for our career. So even the world also understands that you need to look at these two things, personal and professional values. What do you value? Of course, right now, drug trafficking is a business. Sexual trafficking is a business. Selling alcohol and selling all different types of illicit substances, they are all businesses. Assassination, they are all businesses. But the question is, are they businesses that align to your personal and your professional values? Or are they businesses that align to biblical principles? Those are questions you need to ask yourself. So not because those things are businesses, then you will go and involve yourself in it. And number two is that you need to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, your interests, and your values. So there are businesses that are beyond you. You need to know that. There are businesses that you can be able to handle. There are careers that you want to go into that you have strength in those careers. You have weakness in those careers. And there are businesses or services or careers you want to go into that they have no interest, that you have no interest. So not because people are making money in it, then you want to go and do it, right? You have no interest in them, so why go into those businesses? There are businesses that they are not of value to you, but you want to go and do those businesses, and you end up losing your money, you end up crashing out of it. So there's no need for you going into those kind of businesses. Number three is that you need to identify transferable skills and areas of improvement. And so what are those transferable skills? So because immediately you understand the strengths and weaknesses that you have. So it is also important that you identify transferable skills you have that can be applied to different industries and roles. And so this can help you to open up your careers and opportunities. For instance, if you learn how to, what quick example can I use right now? If you learn how to, maybe you learn how to do catering, right? You learn how to do catering. Oh, not catering even. Let me look at tailoring and also look at fashion. Let me look at fashion design and look at those who are into makeup businesses. So these are transferable skills, because if you as a tailor is also into makeup and all of those, you will see that you can be able to transfer those skills that you have as a tailor in deciding what kind of makeup you will make for someone who is about to get wedded. Because for instance, the clothes that you have sewn for that person maybe is milk, and that lady is dark. So what kind of makeup can you be able to apply that will bring out her skin tone to align with the clothes that she is also wearing? Because some mistakes that you see ladies do during their special occasions is that they will wear a different clothes that doesn't align with their skin tone, and they will apply a makeup that doesn't apply to their skin tone. And they come out and you will see them looking like masquerades. Transferable skills. This is just like an easy example that I have just made. And again, for instance, let's say our brother Ayman, who is into musical engineering, who is into musical equipment engineering. So our brother Ayman can transfer his skills to being a sound engineer, and from being a sound engineer to being a music producer, and from being a music producer to become a music or a manager of an artist. So you can see that the skill that he has acquired from one level can be transferred across all different levels. So that makes you very productive. And again, you also need to look at what are those skills that are needed in the 21st century. We'll look at that at the last slide. So number 4, you need to assess the current job market demands and skill gaps. What does that mean? There are skills and there are courses for some of us who are about to go into the university and some of us who are applying JAM. There are courses that even when they give you in the university, reject it and rewrite JAM. Brethren, gaskiya zan giya muku gaskiya fa. Botany bai da amfani kuma. Zoology bai da amfani kuma o. History bai da amfani kuma. All those botany education, whatever education, gaskiya, when they give you those courses, reject them and write JAM the next year. Because it is better that you repeat and write JAM and get the course you want than to go through the stress of going through the university when you're done and you come out and there's nobody that is even willing to employ you. So what you need to do, and we'll look at that in the last slide, which is very, very key for our professional development series that we're going through. This last point, assessing the current job market and the current demands in the job industry and skills gap is very, very key. And how do you do that? You will do that by looking at what are the current trends in the market. What is it that people are demanding in the market these days? What is it that people are looking for every single time people are looking for it? For instance, is food. Right now in Nigeria is food. People are looking for food to eat. So what stops you from going into mechanized agriculture? What stops you from going into other forms of agriculture? Or even if it means that land that your father is living in the village, what stops you from getting a loan or finding somebody who will support you in building one kind of modern farm that year in, year out, you can be able to have crops come out of it? That is what is in demand in the job right now, in the market right now. And again, you look at skills gap. So what are the skills gap that are required? What is the world heading into right now? The world is gearing towards fourth industrial revolution. There are emerging technologies, and there are people now looking for programmers. There are people now looking for various kind of of jobs around. So how can you be able to make those skills gap? That is very, very key. Self-awareness and self-assessment is very important. That's the number one thing you need to do. Apart from when you have been able to build your spiritual framework, when you're trying to build the career framework, this is what you will do. Self-awareness, self-assessment. Look at who you are. Look at what you can be able to do. Look at the talents and the skills that you have. How can you be able to get one skill, get another skill, link them together, and be able to use them in various places? Then look at what the market is needing. What the market is needing is what you will go for. What the market is not needing, don't go for it. Typically, it's like an Igbo man. So an Igbo man will look at what the market reads right now. An Igbo man who is selling spare parts, when he sees that there is no food in the market and people are now looking for food, he will close down his spare parts business and go to places like Bauchi or Gombe. Go and buy bags of beans and maize and everything and come and start selling. Because what has he been able to do? What he did is that he looked at the market demand, and that is what he's trying to fill, and he makes profit. And by the time he has made profit, he will leave. When it's raining season, he will go and open his spare part business, because he knows during the raining season, people's cars get damaged because of our bad roads, and you will still come and buy things from him. Sense. So the second thing is setting career development goals. Career development goals. So what are career development goals? You look at the short-term and the long-term career aspirations. So what do you want to achieve now in the short term, and what do you intend to achieve in the long term? So those are career development goals. You look at them and how do you set them? So when you set your short-term career development goal, you look at your long-term career development goal and you just build a framework. You build a roadmap on how can you be able to achieve all of them, right? And again, you look at measurable and transferable progress towards your career development goals or towards your career. So you need to measure them and you need to track them, right? So you cannot be in SS. Oh, sorry, you cannot be in a shop where you're learning a particular skill and you're already thinking of how you make billions immediately. No, those are long-term goals. Try to set the short term. Short term, how can you be able to learn the newer skills that are in the industry that you're currently learning? So make sure that those skills, those things that you're setting, those skills you're setting, those careers you're setting, make sure that they are skills that are measurable. Make sure that they are skills that are measurable, and also make sure they are skills that you can transfer across board, right? So the third one is professional networking and brand building. So how do you build a strong professional network? We are also going to be looking at that in our last session. So places where you can build a very strong professional network and where you can meet Christian-based individuals that will help you in building your professional career. So number one thing is that you need to build a very strong professional network. So you cannot be in one industry and you have friends in a different industry, right? For instance, if you really want to excel in the field of maybe fashion design, right? So maybe for those who are into tailoring, you want to excel in the field of fashion design. So who are people that are in your network? So who are people that you're meeting? How do you build a network of people who probably when you grow or when where you're intending to grow to, how do you connect with them? So building a professional career or building a professional network means that you need to start reaching out to people in that very field that you want to grow into. Right? And again, it's not just in your own career. You also need to look for people who are also in a similar career. For instance, if you're into cake baking, you need to go and start linking with those who are into interior design, those who are the ones who go and fix canopy, who go and set up wedding venues. Go and link up with them. Go and link up with those who are doing makeup, such that a lady who is into makeup will link you to baking a cake for the wedding. That is how you build your professional network. I'm just using these ones as simple examples, but in building your career going forward, try to link up with people who will help you grow in that choosing career where you are into. So personal brands and maintaining a personal brand. So a personal brand is your unique identity. So for some of us, we are using our social networks just to be able to catch fun and post pictures. No, social networks are used to build a professional and personal brand. And so if you're able to build a very strong personal brand, it will help you to stand out in your job market. So whatever you're doing, try to be taking pictures of what you're doing. And if you're taking pictures of what you're doing, try to post those pictures of what you're doing so that people will see what you're doing. So if you're a tailor and you're cutting the clothes, snap pictures or do videos of you cutting the clothes and say, this is how you cut your clothes, this is how you do this one. And that is how people start bringing businesses to you. For instance, if you look at Instagram these days, you have people who are teaching people how to cook on Instagram. So those people teaching how to cook on Instagram, you will see that they are beginning to get very, very high top level chef jobs. Why? Because they use their personal brands in making sure they attract customers to them. And that is the same thing you'll do. So after building your professional network, or you've brought people around you who are into what you're doing, showcase what you're doing. When you showcase what you're doing, from there, people begin to reach out to you. So again, I said utilize social network and online platforms for professional development. So I will tell you, most of the schools I have gone to, I studied, like I did self-study. Like right now, there is no single course, there is no single thing you want to learn on this earth that somebody has not posted it on YouTube, right? So you can study anything. You can get to any professional level in this life just by watching YouTube and using and getting materials online, right? So again, while you're developing yourself, also use those social media networks to post your own information, to showcase yourself, and to also use it to build yourself. And so lastly, which is number 4, approach a mentor. So when you see someone who has gotten to a particular level in life and you like the progress that that person has made, go and meet that person and say, sir, ma, I really want to be like you. I really want to develop myself to get to this level where you have gotten to. Please, I want you to guide me. That is what you need to do when you're trying to build a professional career and a professional network. So make sure you approach a mentor and make sure and you can have mentors on different levels. So you can have a mentor who teaches you about finance. You can have a mentor who teaches you about the field that you're into. You can have a mentor, like a spiritual mentor, who counsels you, who tells you, this is also what you're supposed to do biblically. You can also have a mentor who also prays along with you, who also helps you in terms of prayer and also guides you in terms of making the right decisions in life. So no one grows on this earth without having a mentor, because no one is an island. And so you need to make sure you approach a mentor, and be sure that you think critically before approaching certain individuals. Make sure that the person you're approaching has a right standing with God, because you cannot just approach anyone just like that because the person has excelled in a particular career and you go ahead and approach the person. So make sure that the person that you have approached, the person has a very good standing with Christ and with God, so you can be able to meet up with that person, and the person will help you in building your career. So, number 3, continuous learning and skills development. Continuous learning and skill development. So staying up to date with the latest industry trends and technologies, which is very, very important. So you need to be sure that you stay up to date with the latest trends of the industry and technologies. So you cannot just be in a particular career and you just keep staying aback. There are people who have, I know, like in our church also, who have been lost in the industry. Why? Because they did not grow their self in the industry. So when things are changing, also move with the trends. And so there are also jobs that we have right now that are being changed as a result of technology. So make sure that as technologies are also changing, also make sure that you are following up with those things, right? And skills development also involves you attending online courses, workshops, and conferences. So that area of career that you want to build, when you hear that there is a workshop, there is a conference, there is a seminar about those things, make sure you attend them. If they are not free, usually in every conference, you will see they write, sometimes they write RSVP. Call the person who is on the RSVP, tell them your age, tell them your status, your employment, tell them your age, you're a student, that you don't have money. Is it possible that they will give you a waiver to attend as a student, that you are willing to serve as a volunteer during the program? And they will invite you and you go and attend the conference free of charge. So make sure that you continuously study, make sure you continuously learn, right? And again, you seek mentorship and guidance from those professionals. So when you attend those conferences, and the real essence of those conferences and seminars is not just to attend to go and listen. Right there, you're going to meet all different manner of people, all the professionals in that very industry you want to go into. Approach them, meet them and talk to them. Tell them you really need help to grow in this career, so, and so. And they will connect with you. Anybody who is willing to teach you will help you, right? So lastly, you need to seek career development or career advancement and opportunities, right? So after you have thought about all of those things, again, you need to research and explore new careers, because you don't just stick to the career where you are. You don't just stick to the career where you are. You also need to, at all times, be sure that you advance yourself and you explore new areas. And so the only way you can be able to explore those new areas is that you have to research about them. You have to research about them. You have to take time to think about them, because you don't just jump into every career. You don't just jump into every professional career without thinking, without researching about all of those areas. And secondly, you need to seek promotions and growth opportunities. So if you're working in an organization, tell them, go and meet them in that very organization. Tell them you need to grow in another different area. They should take you to a different department, or probably they should sponsor you to go to a different course, and all of those. So those are areas which you have to push yourself. So you don't remain in your comfort zone. We'll look at that in our next session. Don't remain in your comfort zone. Make sure that you try as much as you can to build yourself. And lastly, you need to consider self-employment and entrepreneurship. So if you're working in an organization, make sure that you figure out a way of growing. Don't remain there. Do not remain there. And lastly, fourth industrial revolution. So this is just like an introduction to our next session. So initially, of course, you heard me talk about new advancements in technologies. You need to make sure you follow the trend and all of those. So the question is, what are fourth industrial revolutions? So fourth industrial revolutions are the technologies that are advancing emerging technology where we are right now, right? So these are a number of technologies. They are all interlinked all together that are helping us to be able to be where we are in terms of advancement. So for instance, the world started with the first industrial revolution where we had steam engines, because for some of you, if you watch older movies, you will see steam engines, those trains that they were pouring water, or those trains that they were pouring coal. So those were the era of industries, first industrial revolution. And the second industrial revolution was when we started building cars. And so those cars that we were building, some of them still had steam engines, some of them still had coal. And so a typical example of the first industrial revolution and the second industrial revolution is if you go to the museum, there is this train that you will see in museum. That's an example of the first industrial revolution. And the second industrial revolution, there's this car that you will see in museum. That's the second example. That's the example of second industrial revolution. And so the third industrial revolution that we had was when we began to have computers and when we began to have phones and all of that. So that is the third industrial revolution. And so right now we are into the world of the fourth industrial revolution. And so what are the fourth industrial revolution? The fourth industrial revolution is that now we're beginning to have cars that don't need drivers. We're beginning to have robots. We're beginning to have ChatGPT. We're beginning to have trains that are running without anybody driving them. Now we're beginning to have drones deliver packages. Those are examples of the fourth industrial revolution, and that is where we are right now. And so for you to be able to develop your professional career that meets the requirements of the 21st century, you have to look at the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution. Sincerely, if any course that you're studying does not align with any of the courses or any of the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution, I will ask you to have a rethink. Sincerely, you need to have a rethink. So, and when I say alignment, it doesn't mean that everybody has to be into technology. It means that whatever course that you're studying, you need to start thinking of how do I apply the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution into whatever course that I am studying. And if I apply technology into the course that I am into, will that course that I'm studying in collaboration with technology, will it help me in advancing my career? If it is not helping you in advancing your career, then you need to have a rethink, right? So basically that is just what we need to look at in terms of advancing our careers. So right now I will have to stop here because we do not have time any longer. But again, we're going to continue this session by March, in March. And in March, we're going to look in depth into the fourth industrial revolution. And we're going to pick just one single career in the fourth industrial revolution and use it as an example to build a roadmap of how we can be able to advance our careers. So, brethren, thank you very much for joining the session today. And I appreciate the leaders of the Youth Fellowship for giving me the opportunity to look at this. Of course, time is always not our friend. And in the next session, we will make sure that we get alternative power supply to be sure that those who are physically in the Youth Fellowship join us to look at whatever we're sharing. So, brethren, thank you very much for having me today. So, Bro Imat, over to you.
All right. Can you hear